Hello guys, this is Naruto-kun and we are back with our new fanfic, which is What If Banished Naruto Returned to Konoha with His Wife Part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and please subscribe to the channel. It motivates me to upload more fanfic like these for you all. Now let's start the fanfiction. Everyone turned around when they heard Naruto crash into the ground. Naruto's shirt had rips in it. Blood was coming from his lip. He picked himself up. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Naruto, give up. You can't win. You can't keep up with me. There is no way you could win. Sasuke said to his blonde opponent with confidence. Naruto wiped the blood from his mouth. He smiled at what Sasuke said. You're right about one thing, I can't win. Not in my current state at least. I wasn't expecting to do this, Sasuke, but you left me no choice. Naruto spread his legs apart until he was crouching down. His arms came together to form an X. His index finger and middle finger were the only fingers extended on both hands. Purple surrounded Naruto's body. All over his body, purple seals that looked like tattoos covered his body. All those who were looking at the fight was curious to what Naruto was doing. Only a select few knew what those seals actually meant. Tsunade's eyes were wide in shock. The same could be said for Kakashi and Guy. There's no way. But how? I thought. Guy tried to form a sentence. Kakashi couldn't even answer. He was speechless. So this is what Jiraiya was talking about. I hope Sasuke has a plan, because the Mangekyo isn't going to be enough. The copy nin thought to himself. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya. Those seals, Jiraiya. Those are gravity seals, right? He nodded his head to confirm the question Tsunade had asked. Ino was confused by the whole ordeal. Excuse me, but what are gravity seals? Guy spoke. It's no surprise. No one has used them in over 20 years. Gravity seals are seals that are placed on the body. A seal master paints them on the person who requests to have them, or if the person is a seal master, he can draw the seals on the visible part of his body. Seeing as Naruto has it all over his back, a seal master did the procedure for him. To answer your question, gravity seals are like weights but much better. Using a hand seal, that's formatted to the seals, a person could increase the gravity of the seals. They affect the whole body, whereas the weights that Lee and I wear only targets certain muscles. Imagine this, if you will. If the gravity was to elevate, it would feel heavier, making it harder to move as fast we normally would. Doing this constantly, you would get used to the gravity until it felt normal to you. Now going back to the gravity before adapting to the gravity of the seal, your strength and speed would increase exponentially. Kakashi got over his shock. The last person who was capable of creating a gravity seal was the fourth. Well, he was the last person in this village anyway. He turned to Jiraiya, who created the seals for Naruto. Tsunade answered. Judging by the design, it was Haoito Naya, White Diamond. Guy's eyes went wide. Really? Kurenai was clueless. She had no idea who they were talking about. Guy, who is this Haoito Naya? Fuza no Okami, the seal mistress. I think that's how you say it, Guy said. Kurenai's eyes went wide. She knew the reputation of the seal mistress. Almost every ninja in her age group and up knew about the seal mistress. Her skills at seals were comparable to Tsunade's skills at medicine. Kurenai looked back at the fight. He didn't even go all out on us. He was playing with us the whole time. This kid has come a long way. Lee looked at Guy with enthusiasm. Guy-sensei, do you think that she can place those seals on me? Sorry, Lee, but I have no idea where she is. She disappeared 20 years ago and no one knows where to. But don't worry, Lee, we will have to increase your weights. He gave the nice guy pose. Lee was on the verge of tears. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Tsunade cut the two men, who were embracing one another in hug. Jiraiya, did you take Naruto to see Naya? No, Naruto had the seals done while he was with Saichi Kato. It seems Kato and Naya are good friends. I even asked Naruto where she was, but he told me that part of their deal for giving him the gravity seals was to never reveal her location. All I can tell you is that those gravity seals are different than what we were used to seeing. How so? Tsunade asked. Well, for one, the gravity seals we're used to seeing had to be painted on and had to have a mark where it withdrew from. Much like the curse seal. The difference is that this seal doesn't have a mark of origin. Instead, the marks aren't visible. They're only visible because Naruto has deactivated them, and in a minute they'll fade to match his complexion. When he activates them again, the purple marks will appear again, but they will fade all the same. You only see the marks when he activates and deactivates the seals. So as Jiraiya had finishing explaining how the seal worked, Naruto's seals disappeared. Jiraiya continued to watch Naruto finish the process of releasing the seals. The process is complete. Naruto, who was glowing purple, positioned himself to stand upright again. The purple glow had receded, as well as the seals. Naruto went through hand seals faster than anyone could see. Doro Numa no Justu. Sasuke jumped in the air when he realized the hand seals Naruto was forming. Sasuke was in the air looking at Naruto. In instant Naruto vanished from his sight. You certainly move fast when you're in danger. Sasuke heard a voice from behind him. He was shocked at the speed Naruto moved at. Not even his Mangekyo, the ultimate Dojutsu, could follow his current speed. Naruto did a roundhouse kick, sending Sasuke to the ground. Sasuke landed only to be kicked in his back. He skid to a stop face first. Sasuke picked himself up off of the ground. Naruto charged at the Uchiha. Sasuke blocked the first punch, but was unsuccessful blocking the next 7. He was lifted in the air by an uppercut, landing on his back. Sasuke got up again. This time his eyes showed how enraged he was. He calmed down, then spoke. So you're using a seal now to increase your powers. It won't matter, I will still beat you. I am using a seal, but it doesn't give me power. The seals you saw on me were gravity seals. They were activated when we were fighting earlier. I deactivated them because I couldn't keep up with your speed with them on. Just think of them as training weights, but only better. Naruto clarified. Sasuke's eyes opened more than usual. Then you mean to tell me that? Naruto grinned. Correct. This here is my true speed and power. No curse seal. No alternative power source. No blood limit. No nothing. It's all me. Sasuke couldn't believe that the Dobi surpassed him. His speed was nothing short of amazing, but he would never admit that to Naruto. Sasuke had one option, but he knew that it would be taxing on his chakra. He hated to admit to himself, but Naruto had outclassed him. Damn, how did this happen? I defeated Itachi and Orochimaru, and now Naruto stands before me stronger than them both. I have to use it. Susanoo will give me the power and the speed to match him. Sasuke smiled, a genuine smile at Naruto. Why should I be mad? He did this fair and square. I hate to say it, Dobi, but you've earned it. Let's see if he'll go for this. Put it on, Naruto. Sasuke said with no malice or hate. Put what on? I have no idea what you're talking about. Naruto knew what Sasuke was talking about, but why did he ask him to do this? Naruto put on the headband. We did fight as equals back then. We shall do so again now, so please put the headband on. I know you have it, Sasuke stated. It was true. Naruto had the headband in his kunai pouch. Naruto smiled at Sasuke. I guess it's appropriate that I wear a headband illustrating that I no longer hold ideals of the leaf. I don't know why you're asking me to do this. He proceeds to wrap Sasuke's headband around his head. Because you're strong. Sasuke gave Naruto a serious look, and you once said that the headband represents we fight on equal ground. I know you were conscious when you knocked me out last time, why didn't you kill me? Naruto asked. Killing my best friend is something I could never do. I'm not my brother, I would never kill you for power. Sasuke answered truthfully. Naruto became enraged. Best friend? What best friend you know shoves a Chidori through his best friend's chest, huh? All of the spectators couldn't believe what they just heard, especially Kakashi and Sakura. Kakashi couldn't believe because he taught Sasuke the move to protect his friends, and Sakura couldn't believe that Sasuke would do that to Naruto. But she couldn't be mad, since what she did was no better. It may not have been physically painful, but it was all the same to Naruto. Naruto calmed himself, and then continued, you know, Kakashi did teach something that I am grateful to have learned. He taught me what a friend is, even if he never was really a friend to me. He once said to us, in the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum, that's true. But those abandon their friends are worse than scum. Sasuke, you are scum, along with Kakashi and Sakura. I thought of you all as friends, but I doubt the feeling was mutual. You have no idea what it is to be a friend, Sasuke. I really hope that things were different between us, but as they stand there is nothing left for us but to fight. Taking a fighting stand, he smiled at Sasuke, don't hold back. Sasuke was still smiling, I don't intend to. Sasuke's Mangekyo started to glow red. A strange aura, the color of the ocean, surrounded his body. Naruto smiled as he felt the aura coming off of Sasuke. Sasuke was smiling too, he was finally able to go all out. He hadn't done so since his bout with Itachi. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade, he shoved a Chidori through Naruto's chest. I'm guessing you didn't know until now. The fox must have healed him before he came back to the village. His words echoed so only her ears could hear. Yes, it seems so. Tsunade's eyes were glued on the two fighters on the battlefield while answering. Yumi hadn't noticed Jiraiya there. She walked up to him, hello Ero Sennin, how have you been? Jiraiya was cursing Naruto for rubbing off on her in his head. I'm fine. So Yumi, Tsunade told me that your mother was here. Where is she now? She's at the hotel. Ero Sennin, stay away from my mother. I know what you have in mind. She glared at the pervert. Putting his hands in his defense. No, it's nothing like that, it's just that we had good time talking last time I seen her, that's all. Jiraiya thought to himself, plus she gave some good ideas for my last book. I got to pick her brain for more ideas, that book was my bestseller. With a look of worry, Yumi looked at Jiraiya. Jiraiya, that guy is glowing, do you think that Naruto will be okay? Naruto Nisan is going to be fine. You see his speed, it's on a whole new level. He's going to be fine, Yumi Nichan. Konohamaru assured the worried girl. Sasuke could feel the power coursing through his veins. The power he felt was unreal. Sasuke looked at both of his hand, both had the ocean color aura around it. The Uchiha looked back at Naruto, and then in a split second he vanished. He appeared directly behind Naruto. He aimed a kick with right leg for the right side of Naruto's head. The kick never connected. Naruto blocked with his right arm. He then pivoted 180 degrees to plant his left fist in Sasuke's gut. This was blocked. Naruto threw right to Sasuke's face. He barely blocked it. The kick that followed wasn't blocked. He took the hit in his face. This sent him up in the air, but he backflipped to land. Naruto vanished from everyone's sight, except Sasuke and a few others. He knew Naruto was about 10 yards to the left him. He caught him performing seals, and then he stopped. Sasuke knew by the seals Naruto had formed he was going to fire water bullets at him. Sweden. Kiritama no Jutsu, were the words that Naruto whispered to himself when water, in the form of bullets, shot out of his mouth. All of the projectiles were aiming for Sasuke. Sasuke jumped in the air to avoid the bullets of water that impacted the area ground where he once stood. The only Uchiha clan member went through hand seals of his own. Kaden. Hosenka no Jutsu, The fireballs were on their way to Naruto. Before they made contact, Mizu no Tate, after shouted out his technique, his body was encapsulated with water. The fireballs died out as soon as they hit Naruto's water. Sasuke landed back on the ground. The blue aura was still surrounding his body. When Naruto dropped his shield, the Uchiha was preparing another technique, Raiko Dageki. Naruto found himself dodging lightning coming from the sky, that was aimed at him. Damn these lightning strikes, if my gravity seals were still activated I'd be done for. Naruto kept dodging until the technique died down. He was panting, due to the speed at which he had to dodge. You seem tired, don't tell me that's all you have. The Uchiha stated, taunting his opponent. Nope, not at all. Naruto moved too fast for almost everyone to see. He appeared in front of Sasuke. He threw a punch, which the Mangekyo wielder blocked. Both ninjas exchanged blows that were cancelled out by the other. This continued for 2 more minutes until Naruto started to notice something. Is it just me, or is Sasuke slowing down? As realization dawned on Naruto, he realized what was happening. This technique he's using to enhance his speed and power uses up a whole lot of chakra. That's why every blow that I countered was aimed at areas to knock me out. He's trying to finish it. He knows that my speed and power is my own, so when his technique dies out he won't be able to keep up. Sorry Sasuke, but I figured out how this technique operates. You won't be winning today. Naruto tilted his head to the left to avoid a punch. He then countered with left to the gut, a right to the face, and a roundhouse with his right that sent Sasuke to the ground. Sasuke wiped off the blood that was coming from his mouth. He then stood up again. Naruto was watching Sasuke closely. He wondered if Sasuke realized yet that this battle was over. He knew Sasuke would never admit it, but deep down he believed that he had to know. Sasuke, this fight is over. You can't beat me. Naruto said this without showing any emotions. That technique can only be used when you activate the Mangekyo, correct? He asked the question more so to himself than to Sasuke. Naruto continued to give his analysis. I see that it eats away at your chakra, which means that the technique was designed to be used to end a fight quickly. The technique was ineffective against me because my speed and power matches the power boost that you got from that technique. But unlike your technique, which seems to be fizzling out as we speak, my natural attributes won't fade. The blue aura covering Sasuke began to fade until it was completely gone. The Mangekyo Sharingan disappeared, revealing his onyx eyes. Sasuke knew that if he didn't think of something fast then this fight was over. What should I do? If I use Amaritsu then I will drain a significant portion of my chakra. If I use the curse seal in conjunction with the Mangekyo then, no. He's still not using that power that he used in our last fight. If I use that now and exhaust myself, then he could call forth that red chakra and win this fight. Although came to him, I got it I'll use. His train of thought was cut off by a kick to the face. Naruto continued the assault on his former teammate. Sasuke was defenseless to stop him. Naruto was moving so fast that he couldn't manage time to block. Naruto was picking the Uchiha apart. The most people in the crowd couldn't believe what they were seeing. Sasuke, who was in line to be the next Rokudaime, was getting beat senseless. Hell yeah, go Naruto. Kick that pompous Uchiha's ass. Kiba shouted, pumping his fist. Rubbing his ears, Shikamaru tried to recover from Kiba's loud cheers. Kiba, could you be any louder? Naruto is winning, it's pointless yelling. Come on Shikamaru, you can't tell me you're not enjoying this. Kiba said this while having his hand around the shadow user. Shikamaru broke free of the embrace. He then shrugged, I'm only here because Ino felt 2 immense chakras. I was actually watching the sun set, but the sun is a setting and it looks like I won't be doing what I intend to do. Why didn't you just tell her you didn't feel like coming? Neji asked. It would have been so goddamn troublesome to argue with Ino. She would have kept nagging until I said yes. So to avoid her arguing I decided to come. She's more troublesome than my mom. Ino had overheard what Shikamaru had said. She was not happy to say the least. She balled her fist and planted it into Shikamaru's head. He was now face first in the dirt. Shikamaru, how dare you call me a nag? If you weren't such a lazy person, no one would have to force you to do things. Another thing, how dare you? Shikamaru rolled on his back to look at the setting sun. Note to self, keep your mouth shut, it's less troublesome in the long run. Naruto was attacking Sasuke with a barrage of kicks and punches. Naruto flipped over Sasuke. When he landed, he quickly did a back flip kick. Sasuke went in 2 feet off of the ground before landing on his back. Naruto resumed his fighting stance. Sasuke got back up off of the ground. His eyes were fixed on Naruto's. Keep him focused on my eyes. That's it, Naruto, and now. Sasuke activated his Sharingan, so after it went into its Mangekyo form. Naruto had no time to react, he found himself in one Sasuke's ultimate techniques. Naruto looked around. The sky was red, every object he could see was black. He looked at his hands to see it was black as well. Where the hell am I? You're in the world of Tsukiyomi. This is the ultimate genjutsu, there is no escape. I control everything here. Sasuke's voice echoed through world of Tsukiyomi. Naruto was looking around. Suddenly, he saw Iruka in front of him dead. Naruto let a tear fall from his eye. He then heard a familiar voice scream. He ran in the direction of the voice. He saw Yumi tied to a pole. When he tried to run to free her, he was frozen in place. He found himself tied to a cross. All he could do was watch as Sasuke appeared in front of him. I control everything in here, Naruto. Sasuke then turned to Yumi, and I control her life as well. Sasuke walked up to Yumi and placed the sword that he held at her throat. Please, don't. Naruto pleaded. Sasuke gave an evil grin before he slit her throat. Sasuke appeared in front of Naruto. He pointed the spot where he just slit Yumi's throat. Her dead form faded, and then she reappeared again. You will watch me kill her over and over for the next 72 hours. Also, 100 of Sasuke's appeared in front of Naruto. I will be impaling you with shurikens. All the Sasuke's threw the shurikens, all hit Naruto, who screamed as they made contact. It's only an illusion, but this pain is real. Damn, how can I break this jutsu? Naruto, who was bleeding all over, smirked at Sasuke. Fox, free me from this damn illusion. Naruto hated asking the fox for favors, but the fox wasn't that bad. Well, he started getting better when Naruto became strong. He stopped calling him a weak container. So you finally want my help? You haven't asked for my help in 6 years. Ironically, it was to fight this idiot. Just break this jutsu. If I had experienced this technique before, I would have tried to develop a counter for it. Besides, I know you want to see me kick his ass. Naruto said to the fox. This is pretty good technique, for a human. It is very hard, near impossible for humans to counter. I will break this technique because I refuse for people to see my container as weak. The fox stated. Ah, it kinda sounds like you're worried about me. I didn't know that the king of all yokai could care for a lowly human. Naruto said sarcastically. The Kyuubi growled, damn you Yondaime. I wish I was free from this prison. If I were free, I doubt you would talk to me in such a manner. If I was free, I would feast on your corpse, I would. God damn it. Just break the technique. I'm tired of hearing you would eat me if you were free. Say something new, you damn fox. Muhahaha. You got guts, kid. I'll give you that. Okay, let me break this pathetic technique of this bastard. Sasuke, wondering why Naruto was smirking at him. Didn't he know that there was no escape from this technique? Sasuke was about to say something when Yumi disappeared. All of copies of himself disappeared as well. Sasuke looked at Naruto. What's going on? Smirking. I'm breaking this jutsu, that's what's going on. Sasuke tried to control this world to no avail. Sasuke started to feel hot. The world around him started to burn, flames were everywhere. He couldn't move, he was trapped in the fire. He felt the flames burn his skin. Naruto vanished from his post and all Sasuke remembered was screaming. Naruto dropped to one knee, gasping for air. Sasuke clutched his head, and then dropped to his knees the floor. Panting, he looked at Naruto with shock in his eyes. What the hell are you? Still panting, he smiled, the one who's going to kick your ass. I must admit that was the best genjutsu ever. But I have aces up my sleeve as well. Both warriors, who were about 10 yards away from one another, stood on their feet. Naruto was feeling the mental effects of Tsukiyomi and Sasuke was feeling pain all over. Sasuke activated his Mangekyo Sharingan again. It had faded as soon as his technique was broken. Kurenai, who specialized in genjutsu, knew that it was impossible to counter that technique. Tsukiyomi was the ultimate genjutsu. How in the hell did he counter that technique? By all accounts he should not be fighting, he should be in a coma. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it, was all Kakashi could say. Asuma cigarette was already on the ground. He was watching the fight without saying a word to anyone because he was speechless. Now speechless was an understatement. Anko couldn't grasp how he did it. Neji was curious as well. But he didn't expect anything less from Naruto. If one thing is for sure, it's that Naruto is full of surprises. Hanabi was watching in utter shock. She couldn't believe that someone was not only standing toe-to-toe with Sasuke, but the said person was winning. Talk about shock to the system. She looked at Konohamaru and frowned. He was going to prove her wrong for once. She hated being proven wrong. The Uchiha did the hand seals necessary. His right hand was now clutching his left wrist. Electricity was visible in his left hand that was palm side down. A ring of chakra was on the ground, he stood in the middle. Naruto wasted no time forming his Rasengan. This Rasengan was different from his usual Rasengan. The inside became more a royal blue, while the outside was the color of his chakra. This time he would put as much power as possible. One thing that both ninjas knew was certain was that this attack would decide the battle. Guy looked at Kakashi. It seems that he's going to use Reikiri. Looks like he's going to go all out. Who do you think will win? I don't know. Both techniques are powerful. We'll see in few minutes, I'm sure. Naruto and Sasuke held their gazes on one another. Naruto, it seems we're back to where finished our last battle. Let's see if your Rasengan can stand up to my Reikiri, the Uchiha stated. This ends now, Sasuke. It's time we settle the score, he said in a serious manner. Both warriors took off. They were running toward the end of the battle. Sasuke and Naruto were closing the distance that separated them. When they finally got within reaching distance, they readied their techniques to make contact. Naruto and Sasuke looked in each other's eyes. Odama Rasengan. Reikiri. Both techniques collided. Everything went white. The whiteness enveloped the landscape, taking the vision of all who were looking at the fight. When the light died down, there was a crater where both fighters had collided. Instincts took over. Sakura and Yumi both ran to the crater. Everyone followed suit. Yumi and Sakura arrived at the crater at the same time, their eyes widened at the sight before them. Everyone reached the crater as well. The same expression came across their face when they looked inside of the crater. Inside the crater, Naruto stood over an unconscious Sasuke. His eyes were focused on the Sharingan wielder. Naruto then untied the headband around his head. He placed the headband on Sasuke's chest, then picked him up bridal style. He walked towards the crowd. When he got near Sakura and Kakashi, he laid Sasuke down. Don't worry, Kakashi. I didn't kill your prized student, I just knocked him out. He should wake in an hour or so. He said, void of emotions. He cringed when he didn't add the sensei. With the exception of Jiraiya, they looked at him in shock, but he ignored it. He walked past everyone and went straight to Yumi, who was next to Konohamaru. I think we should get some rest. Let's head back to the hotel. Yumi looked at him. He had cuts and scrapes all over his body. Sakura walked up to Naruto and smiled. Naruto, you're injured, let me heal you. Sakura went to place her hands above his arm to heal the cut, but he slapped it away. He turned away, walked off. Sakura looked as his back moved away from her. Naruto, please let me heal you. He stopped and turned around. He looked at Ino. If memory serves me right, Ino, didn't Haruno tell me never to speak to her again? He finally turned his gaze to Sakura. The only reason you want to help me now is because you feel guilty. I don't need your help. As far as I'm concerned, you're dead to me. Sakura felt as if a knife went into her heart. His words stung her. Tears were swelling up in her eyes. Naruto gave a smirk. Did my words hurt you? I'm glad now you understand how I felt. Sakura, you're pathetic. Tears slid down her cheek. Naruto, we were friends, why would you say such a hurtful thing? He spoke once more. Sakura, let's get one thing straight, you and I were never friends. I only had a few people that I could call friends in this village. You treated me badly whenever I tried to be friends with you. Whenever Sasuke and I argued, you would take his side. I did everything I could to prove that I was worthy of your friendship. I even protected you and this village from Gaara. Still everyone hated me. If it wasn't for me, he pointed at Tsunade, she wouldn't be Hokage of this village. Hell, if wasn't for me, he pointed at Kakashi, Zabuza would have killed him. He paused for a second. Sakura, don't ever speak to me again. Maybe I should have let Gaara kill you, since you're so pathetic. Quote. Kakashi came to her defense. Naruto, that's enough. You've gone too far. Naruto glared at the man with the mask. It's just like Hatake to protect his two precious students. I don't see how this involves you, so stay out of this scum. Kakashi gritted his teeth under his mask. Naruto smiled, knowing he got a rise out him. What did I say? Something that pissed of the great Hatake off. It must have been when I called you scum. Don't get mad, I call it like I see it. How do you figure that I'm scum, Naruto? He asked in a normal, calm facade. You consider people who abandoning their friends and comrades are scum, right? I guess it goes without saying. He calmly replied. Naruto spoke once more. You abandoned me to train Sasuke during the Chunin exams, when I asked for your help. You taught him and Sakura, but whenever I asked for your help you would say that my chakra control was horrible. Not once did you recommend something that would help gain better chakra control. How does it feel to have your best student beaten by the one you consider to be your worst? He looked at the Anbu members and the Chunin and Junin fangirls. This is the guy you worship. Is this your Rokudaime? He couldn't even beat me and you expect him to protect the village. The Anbu members and the fangirl Kunoichis were fuming. He then turned his gaze to Tsunade. Your successor sucks. So, do you believe I'm worth the $90 million Ryu since I beat the soon-to-be Rokudaime? Naruto looked at all the female Kunoichis swooning over Sasuke. He knew no matter what he did, Sasuke would always have their respect. He proved that he had the strength to be Hokage, but he would never have the title. He knew that this village would never accept him no matter what. Sometimes he wondered why he didn't start his own village. He stored that thought. He might do that. Hey Hatake, when he wakes up ask him how does feel to lose to the dead last. Also, how does it feel to know that you can't beat me? Naruto was taunting Kakashi. Naruto, stop acting like an ass and stop being mean. Yumi said, slightly mad at him. For the first time, Naruto looked at Yumi with hate in his eyes. You only know them for a minute and you take up for them. They treat me like crap and it's okay, but I speak how I feel and I'm an ass. No Yumi, you're an ass for taking up for these people who probably want you dead just for being associated with me. Naruto turned around and stormed off, leaving Yumi shocked. Where are you going, Naruto? The concerned girlfriend asked. What does it matter? The words escaped his mouth in a sad tone. She turned to Jiraiya. Why is he acting like this? I never once saw him belittle someone. He always encouraged others to do their best. The Toad Hermit decided to answer. Many people in this village hate Naruto. I'm sure you know why, but we won't talk about that here. This village has done nothing to help him or make him believe in himself. True, he could have decided not to taunt everyone here, but to understand why he acts this way to most of the people here, you will have to ask Naruto, Yumi. It's simple. When a person gives all they have to others and gets nothing in return, it's only natural they become cold and bitter to those they have given their all to. Everyone turned around to hear the unknown stranger speak. With his mini afro, black jacket, black pants, and black sandals, Shino had gained the attention of everyone. Tsunade looked at Sasuke. Kakashi, take Sasuke home, and everyone else go about your business. Everyone started to walk off. Konohamaru walked up to Yumi. Let me walk you back to the hotel, Yumi Nichan. Don't worry, Naruto-Nisan is going to be okay. Yumi looked up and smiled. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. Yumi and Konohamaru walked into the direction of the hotel. Shikamaru still was lying on the ground. The moon looks nice from here. Maybe I should get home. He thought it over for a second. On second thought, I think I'll wait here for a while. I already dealt with one troublesome woman today. Being whipped is so troublesome. The lazy Junin continued to look at the moon and the stars in the sky. On top of the Hokage monument, sat a lone young man who was looking off into the night sky. Sitting on the head of the fourth Hokage, Naruto sat deep in thought. Naruto thought about Yumi, and what he said to her. Realizing what he said to her, he sighed. He also was aware of the fact that the council and everyone else in the village were going to hate him for what he did to their precious Sasuke-kun. No matter what he did for Konoha, he would always be seen as the demon. His thoughts also flashed back to his dream to become Hokage, or rather his former dream. He clenched his dirt-smudged fist. Everything he ever tried to work for, Sasuke seemed to get without trying. He hated to admit to himself, but he was jealous of Sasuke. His thoughts drifted to when he first met Konohamaru. He remembered what he told the boy all those years ago. He remembered looking at Sandame's grandson in the eyes and saying, "There are no shortcuts." Oh, how true that was. For all the strength that he possesses, he had to work hard to obtain it. Sasuke had the Sharingan and could copy everything. He himself, on the other hand, trained his body to the brink. Maybe that's why Kakashi trained Sasuke instead. He didn't really have to teach, Naruto wondered. I knew you would be up here. The perverted hermit spoke, breaking his concentration. Naruto looked up to see his sensei giving him a warm smile. What do you want, Ero Sennin? The blonde questioned. He was now looking at his sensei with a look that gave off no emotion. To see how you were doing. Jiraiya answered. Jiraiya may not have been able to see the emotion on Naruto's face, but he knew that if he was on the monument then he was sad. This was one of the few places that Naruto went when he was sad. Jiraiya knew this after watching Naruto a few times. Naruto, you can't lie to me. I know you're probably a bit angry, but what you said to Sakura and Kakashi was wrong. Naruto's eyes showed fury. He thought he was coming up here to talk to him about anything, but never did he think it was about his treatment to those two. If he had said Yumi, then he would not have gotten angry, but to say those two and expect him not to feel what he felt was absurd to him. Just when I thought you were here to talk to me about Yumi or something else, you bring up Kakashi and Haruno. Every time I speak how I feel, it's a problem, but others can speak to me any way they feel and get away with it. Tough luck. If I hurt anyone's feelings, I don't give a crap. Naruto spat out in anger-filled tone. Jiraiya spoke, so you don't care if you hurt Yumi. Naruto's anger died down immediately. Naruto knew he was wrong for yelling at her, but he was just mad. Jiraiya just gave sigh. Look Naruto, I'm not here to tell you to apologize to anyone, that decision is solely on you. But I will say this, grow up Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened at what his teacher said, and then they narrowed just as quickly as the widened. Grow up. I grew up as soon as the woman I saw as the only mother I ever had kicked me out of the village. I grew up when the girl I gave my all to please, saw me as nothing more than an annoyance. I grew up when my friend shoved a Chidori through my chest. I grew up when my sensei refused to train me to train another student. I grew up when the day my dream was killed. I grew when I finally realized that no matter what I did for this village, they would always see as nothing more than the demon that destroyed their families. Now you stand here and tell me to grow up. I've grown up, so don't stand there and say something like that to me. Jiraiya's eyes never broke contact with his student. Naruto, you have grown up into a strong, brave, and decent human being. I never doubted that you have grown up, but you haven't grown up enough to put the past behind you. Naruto's eyes fixed on the ground. Why should I put the past behind me? The past is a part of who I am. He pointed to the village. They can't seem to put the past behind them, so why should I? Naruto looked at Jiraiya, searching for the answer as if it was in the hermit's eyes. Jiraiya placed a hand on his student's shoulder, then smiled, because Naruto, you're better than them. I've watched you grow from an annoying, overconfident, loud-mouthed brat, into an annoying, overconfident, loud-mouthed young man, a young man that I'm proud of. Naruto smiled. He always thought of Jiraiya as a grandfather. So for him to say that he was proud of him made the blonde boy feel happy. Naruto's smile quickly turned into a look of sadness. I'm glad that you're proud of me, but how do I put the past behind me when it hurts so much? He just shrugged his shoulders. Honestly, I don't know Naruto. However, I do know that hate will not change anything. Naruto, the past is the past, so don't let it hurt you. Look towards the future now. You have Yumi now. Doesn't the future look better than the past? Also, you proved to everyone one is this village who called you a monster and a dead last wrong. You beat their Uchiha, and when you did get strong enough, you didn't take out your aggressions on them. So I know you could leave the past in the past. That's why you are better than them. Naruto looked towards the stars in the sky. He was contemplating on everything that Jiraiya had told him. He was right. Naruto didn't grow up enough to put the past behind him. Also, he had Yumi, and that was a gift from God in his eyes. He knew that his future no longer lied in Konoha, but he did have a few people here that cared for him. That was enough. So he made a resolution to just let it go. Everything would start off with a clean slate, as far as Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke was concerned. He would no longer hold grudges because he was better than that. He looked back at Jiraiya. You're right, Arrow Sennin, I am better than them. I will put the past behind me. From this day forward, I will start with a new slate with everyone. Sakura, Kakashi, and Sasuke, even Oba-chan. I won't hold a grudge, because in the end it was I who turned out for the better. I given my word and I never go back on my word, because that is my Nindo. Thanks Arrow Sennin for making me see what I should have seen all along. Who would have thought a perverted old man could be so wise? Well, I do have my moments. Anyway, I think you should go talk to Tsunade. He dropped the smile and gave Naruto a look to illustrate his seriousness. You should know that she didn't want to banish you. I know she didn't want to, but it just hurt. I know she has obligations as Hokage, but I just wished she was there for me. The council was against me from day one. They saw their chance to get rid of me and they did. Naruto said. Jiraiya continued looking into his student's eyes. Naruto, be careful. The council is against you. Even though the Hokage has the most power, her power is not absolute. If everyone on the council comes together, then they can overthrow even her rule. They will band together and try to send you on suicide missions. So Naruto, be careful. Naruto took it all in. You're probably right. It did seem that everyone was against me in that meeting besides Oba-chan. I know they probably are trying to kill two birds with one stone. They're hoping that I can help end this war and die in the process. Well, I'm going to take everything that they will and can throw at me. Jiraiya smiled at his students' comments. He knew how the council members hated Naruto. He knew that as soon as they get the chance they would send him into a suicide mission, or at least it would be for anyone else. They're going to be disappointed when he completes every mission that they throw at him. He broke free from his train of thought. Naruto, it's getting late, maybe you should go to your hotel room. Naruto nodded in agreement. I probably should. Yumi is going to be worried sick. I just hope she didn't tell my san. The last thing I need is her screaming at me. So Ero Sennin, where are you going? Jiraiya gave his student a cheesy smile. I'm going to continue my research. I'll see you before you leave for your mission tomorrow. Later. Naruto frowned at his sensei's actions. Perverted hermit, going to do his research. Naruto shook his head at the thought of Jiraiya and some poor lady. He then headed back to the town below. Before he went to the hotel, he had to do something else. Uchiha District. Naruto had walked in the Uchiha District. When he was young, he remembers it being full of life. As it stands today, it is nothing more than an eerie ghost town. Naruto walked to the house that housed the only member of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke was sitting in his living room with Kakashi and Sakura. Sakura followed Kakashi to make sure that Sasuke was okay. Sasuke, on the other hand, was deep in thought. He couldn't fathom that Naruto had beaten him. Not only that, but Naruto had rendered Tsukiyomi useless. Just how strong are you, Naruto? This question ran through Sasuke's head until the sound of the door broke his concentration. Sasuke went to answer the door. He was surprised at who was standing before him. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Can I come in? We need to talk. Sasuke thought about it for a minute. Should he let him in or should he just slam the door in his face? Sasuke decided to let Naruto in. Naruto entered the house to see Sakura and Kakashi standing in the living room. Kakashi and Sakura looked at Naruto, clearly curious as to why he was there. Naruto decided to speak. Great, you're all here. I won't have to track you two down. Kakashi wondered what Naruto wanted. Naruto, do you wish to say something that we all should hear? He shook his head. Yes. He took a deep breath before continuing. I'm just here to say that I'm sorry. Kakashi, I didn't mean what I said to you. Well, I did, but I'm sorry about it. He then looked at Sakura. Look, Sakura, I know what I said was wrong and maybe I shouldn't have said it, but I only said it because I was angry. I don't wish death on no one and it was wrong to wish it on you. Sakura smiled a genuine smile. She then walked up to the taller blonde. Naruto, it is I who should be apologizing to you. You were right about saying that I wasn't a good friend to you. You did more than I could ask any friend to do. What I said all those years was wrong and I truly am sorry. Please forgive me. Naruto looked at Sakura. Sakura, I forgive but I will never forget. He looked at Kakashi, then Sasuke before placing his eyes back on Sakura. Although I may never forget, that doesn't mean we can't start fresh. From this day forth we're going to wipe the slate clean. What do you say? Tears slid down the pink Kunoichi eyes. She immediately rushed and hugged Naruto. Naruto, I don't know why you're doing this when you have every right to hate me, but I promise that I will try to be a good friend. Sakura let Naruto go to wipe her eye dry. Naruto then turned to Sasuke. I hope we can put the past behind us, Sasuke. Sasuke, who was leaning on the wall by the door, nodded. Sure, I guess we could do that. Naruto then turned to Kakashi. Is this okay with you? The copy nin smiled behind his mask. Sure Naruto, it sounds perfect. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Well, I better head back to the hotel. We have a mission tomorrow and I'm getting tired. Sasuke opened the door as Naruto walked towards to head to the hotel. When Naruto was at the end of the walkway, Sakura screamed out, "Naruto!" Sakura yelled. He turned to look at her. She was smiling at the blonde ninja. Thank you. Naruto gave her a slight nod then continued to the hotel. Ero Sennin was right. No need to hold grudges because I am better than that. Naruto arrived at the hotel 10 minutes later. Naruto was walking to his room when he saw Jiraiya coming out of Mai's room. Jiraiya turned to see Naruto and let out a breath in shock. What are you doing here, Ero Sennin? I was talking to Mai. Jiraiya responded nervously. Well, you better hope that Yumi doesn't find out that you're asking her mother for advice on your book. I would hate see what she would do you. Jiraiya was shocked. How did you know about that? Naruto snorted. I have ears, you know. When you visited last time I heard her offer to give you pointers. Yumi doesn't know that her mother is a pervert just like you. I won't tell her because it would devastate her. Anyway, I didn't see you and this little talk never happened, so good night. Naruto walked past Jiraiya and headed straight for his room. Jiraiya scratched his head. He didn't think about it too much. Phase 1 of his information gathering was done. Now it was time to start Phase 2, which involved liquor, lipstick and waking up the next day rather happy. He exited to the hotel seeking what he dubbed his inspiration. Naruto entered the room. Yumi was laying on the bed with her back towards the door. He decided to slip out of his clothes and jump in the shower. 10 minutes later he exited the shower in his blue boxers and his white ace shirt. He decided to slip into bed without waking Yumi. Naruto slipped under the covers. He then placed his arm around Yumi. I know you're not asleep, Yumi-chan. I just want to apologize for what I said to you. If I hurt your feelings, it was not my intention. I love you too much to ever hurt you. He whispered the words into her ear. Naruto got no response. He didn't expect one. After all, he did call her an ass. Naruto put his hands behind his head and just looked at the ceiling. He felt an arm wrap around his waist and a head rest on his chest. Let's just get some sleep, Naruto-kun. It has been a very long day. He smiled at his girlfriend before they both drifted into land of dreams. The sunlight cast itself onto the eyes of the female with brown hair. Yumi brought her hands forth to shield her eyes from the brightness of the sun. She opened her eyes slowly to adjust to her surroundings. She rolled over to place her arm around Naruto, only to find that he was not there. The focus in her eyes became clear. She could now see that the blonde was no longer by her side. She saw him sitting in a chair a couple of feet away. He was fully dressed in a black jacket with orange lining, and matching pants. As he was slipping his sandal on his feet, he looked at Yumi and smiled. Good morning, sleepyhead, he said in a playful tone to the girl on the bed. She sat up and looked at him. Good morning, Naruto, leaving so soon? Yes, I have to be at the Hokage Tower in 20 minutes. Oba-chan is going to give us our mission today. I don't know what type of mission it is or how long I'm going to be gone. He informed the girl. She got out of the bed and walked up to him and sat in his lap. I hope you're not gone for too long. She kissed him on the cheek then got off of his lap. Well, I'm going to take a shower. You should probably get going. You don't want to be late. It gives people a bad impression, you know. Naruto stood up. Yes, I know. Well, Yumi, I'm off, I'll see you. Naruto walked to the door but before could open it to leave he heard Yumi speak, Naruto. He turned to face his girl. Yes. She walked up and kissed him on the lips. Be careful, okay? He gave her one of his infamous grins. Don't worry, I'll be fine. He exited the hotel room leaving Yumi behind. Yumi, who was still in her white pajama pants and sky blue tank top, proceeded to the bathroom to freshen up. Hokage Tower 20 minutes later. Naruto walked into Tsunade's office with no time to spare. He looked around and from what he could see everyone who was assigned to this mission was there. Everyone was dressed in the standard Chunin and Junin uniform. Tsunade looked at Naruto, who finally landed his eyes on her. Glad you could join us, Naruto. Now that you're here, I will go over the mission briefing. This mission is an A-rank mission with the possibility of turning into an S-class mission. Your mission is to infiltrate a cloud ninja outpost on the outskirts of Lighting Country. You are to recover a blueprint layout to a ninja base in Lighting Country. Naruto spoke first. What is so important in the ninja base that would force you to assign a mission to recover to blueprints for it? The fifth leaned back in her chair. In one of our previous missions, we obtained a prisoner from the cloud. After being tortured by Ibiki, he gave us some info but not entirely enough. So I had Yamanaka Ino search his memories and she discovered that the base had battle plans that they intended to use on us. Ino also discovered that the blueprint to this base was located where I previously stated. Do you understand why this mission is so vital? Naruto shook his head. Yes. Tsunade spoke. Good. Sasuke will be acting as team leader for this mission, Sakura you will be head medic, and Udon will be lead strategist. If there is nothing else then you guys are dismissed. Naruto looked directly into the Hokage's eyes and spoke, there is something that I wish to request. Tsunade eyed him suspiciously, what is your request? I request that you make me squad leader on this mission. Naruto stated his request, which shocked everyone. Sasuke glared at Naruto. In his mind Naruto was questioning his leadership and he didn't like it. He was an Anbu captain, and his team was by far the most successful Anbu squad in the Leaf with a 0 casualty rate. By Naruto asking to lead this mission made him furious. Hokage-sama, I am more than capable of leading this squad. My mission success rate proves that fact. Sasuke spoke in a tone that hid his anger. Naruto looked at Sasuke. I wasn't questioning if you were capable or not, I just thought that I would be the best option for this particular mission. Hanabi decided to speak. Why? Because you beat Sasuke-sama. Just because you won that little fight, doesn't mean you're qualified to lead. Naruto turned to the person who spoke. That's not it. I'm sure Sasuke could lead this mission perfectly, but my connections in Lighting Country are well suited for this mission. Tsunade was deep in thought. Naruto did have a point, he probably was fit to lead, but she didn't know how well it would go over with everyone else. Thinking it over for a while she finally came to a decision. First, I would like to ask everyone here who they think should be leader. Based on your votes I will select the leader for this mission. Hanabi quickly responded, I elect Sasuke-sama. Quote. Udon was next to respond, Sasuke. Konohamaru followed, Naruto. Hinata spoke a soft voice, Naruto-kun. Sakura was the last to respond. She looked at both Naruto and Sasuke, then back to Tsunade, I choose Sasuke. Naruto just shook his head then looked at Tsunade. Fine, I thought that it would be best since I have been to Cloud a number of times on missions but if this is the decision then I will comply. Tsunade spoke once more, okay, you have your mission. You are to meet up at the gate at noon and head out. Dismissed. Naruto was heading out then he heard the Hokage's voice, Naruto wait, I want you to stay. The blonde stopped and turned to face the fifth. He walked up to her desk, what do you want? She leaned forward with her chin resting on the back of her hands, are you mad that Sasuke is leading this mission? No, was his only response. She looked at him again to read his emotions. The old Naruto would have been mad that Sasuke was leading, but this Naruto wasn't. She wondered, Naruto you have to understand that they trust Sasuke so that's why majority thought he would be best to lead this mission. Naruto gave her shrug, whatever, I don't really care. You're paying me to do a job so that's what I will do. I thought it would be beneficial that I lead because I know the geographical terrain and I also have a spy network. Anyway, I will do what Sasuke requires of me. No more, no less. Tsunade shook her head, pleased with his statement. Good, I just wanted to clear that up because the mission's success is vital. Naruto headed to the exit. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm going back to the hotel. Later, Oba-chan. Tsunade's eyes widened in shock as he exited her office. A smile formed on her face and a tear slid down her cheek. He called me Oba-chan. Naruto, you may not officially be the leader of this mission, but it will be you who will lead them to success. Naruto went back to the hotel. He entered his room to find Yumi and her mother sitting on the bed talking. Naruto smiled. Hey, how is everything? The brown hair woman smiled. Pretty good. Yumi was telling me about you beating up some guy yesterday. She also told me you had a mission. I thought you weren't coming back today. Well, my san, I do have a mission, but I don't have to leave until noon. I have 2 hours to prepare for my mission and get everything I need. Since I have all of my equipment, I have 2 hours to blow. He answered his girlfriend's mother. Oh, okay. We're waiting for Ino. She promised to show me more of the village. Yumi is coming with us since you're going on a mission. Mai explained. Yumi looked at Naruto. Mother convinced me to tag along, so I decided to do so. I'm sure you're going to have a good time. Soon as Naruto finished his words, there was a knock at the door. Naruto opened the door to find it was Ino. Hey Ino, how is everything? It's good. How are you doing? Ino asked. Fine. Well, I guess I should get out of here and let you girls enjoy your day. Later, Ino. I'm sorry about holding that kunai to your neck. Naruto stated before he ran off. Ino looked at Mai and Yumi. So you girls ready to go? Yes, Ino. I think we're ready. Mai responded. Let's go. I'm off for a week and I plan on enjoying myself. The life of a ninja is hard, you know. The blonde Kunoichi stated. Mai gave a slight laugh. I suppose. Well, let's go so we can have some fun. Besides, I promised Jiraiya-san that I would meet up with him to discuss some matters. Yumi wondered what her mother had to talk to pervert about. What do you have to discuss with Jiraiya, mom? Mai didn't want to let her daughter know what was happening, so she decided to bend the truth a little. I'm not sure, but he said he needs my advice on something, although I am clueless to what that might be. Yumi looked at her mother sideways. She didn't buy that for a second, that lie for a second. Unknowing to her mother, Naruto, and Jiraiya, Yumi knew that her mother was helping Jiraiya write his dirty novel. When Jiraiya visited them for a week, she remembered waking up late to go to the bathroom. While going to the restroom, she heard her mother and Jiraiya discussing his book. She was giving him suggestions on what should be in the book and what should be omitted. I can't believe that my mother is giving Ero Sennin some ideas to write that smut. Well, the book isn't all that bad. It did reveal some positions that I performed on Naruto that was very satisfactory. Blah. What the hell am I thinking? That book is smut, plain and simple. Naruto probably knows and doesn't want to tell me. Fine, I'll play stupid. Yumi thought. Just watch yourself around him, mom. He's a pervert. She warned her mother. Don't worry, Yumi. I'm a big girl. I'll be okay. Mai assured her daughter. With that being said, the ladies were off to tour the town. Hyuga compound. Hinata was packing some clothes and extra tools for her little expedition. She looked over her stuff to see if she had everything. Once she saw that she had everything she needed, she placed her backpack on her back and decided to head the ramen stand to grab a quick meal before she left for the mission. While she entered the courtyard, she saw her father and her sister talking. Her father was alerted of her presence and signaled for her to join them. She became nervous as she got closer and could the look on her father's face. Father, is there something that you wish to talk to me about? He looked at her with disgust. I heard about your mission from Hanabi. Don't screw this up. She looked down. Yes, father. I will do my best to not be a burden. All you ever do is try and fail miserably. Just don't screw this mission up. What's this I hear you wanting that delinquent as the leader of this mission? Your sister said you voted for him instead of Sasuke. What is the meaning of this? He stared at her waiting for an answer. Father, Naruto-kun knows the geographical layout of Lighting Country. I thought we would benefit from his vast knowledge if he was to take lead, that's all. Replied the pale-eyed girl. Hiyashi still eyed his eldest daughter with disgust. Like I said before, don't fail the mission. You should be a Junin now, but you're still a Chunin. In my eyes you are pathetic. Hinata, you should be more like Hanabi. She'll probably become a Junin on the next exam and surpass you once again. Sometimes I wish she was the oldest. Hinata wanted to cry, but she told herself not to. Her father had always favored Hanabi over her. Why couldn't he see the things that she was good at? She might not be the best fighter, but she was gifted with making medicine. She also was kind, caring, and selfless, but none of those qualities mattered to her father. Sometimes she wished she wasn't a Hyuga, maybe then life would have been better. She cleared her thoughts and did what she normally did in this situation. I'm sorry for being weak, father. I will try my best to become as strong as Hanabi, father. She bowed and headed to the exit. Hanabi bowed to her father and followed suit. The young Hyuga smirked. She was the reason why her father belittled her sister. Hinata deserved it for suggesting that blonde idiot lead the mission. That would show her to side with shinobis that are not of this village. She finally caught up to her sister. Hinata, where are you heading to? Hinata didn't want to speak to Hanabi right now. However, she didn't want to be rude either, so she turned to Hanabi. I was just heading to Ichiraku ramen stand. Do you wish to join me, sister? Hanabi wore the same expression of disgust that her father had on earlier. I'll pass, I wouldn't be caught dead in that place, it is so beneath a Hyuga. Hinata knew her sister would decline. Most of the main family felt that they were better than everyone, and her sister was no exception. Well, Hanabi, I guess I will see you at the gate at noon. Goodbye, sister. Hinata walked off, leaving Hanabi behind. Hanabi was about to take a step but realized that she didn't have anywhere to go. She didn't have any friends because she chose not to associate with people weaker than herself. She looked at Hinata walking away. She made a decision. Hinata, wait up. At Ichiraku ramen stand, Naruto and Konohamaru were sitting on a stool eating ramen. Bro, don't sweat it. At least we're on a mission together, I wasn't really worrying about that, Konohamaru. He leading the mission doesn't affect my abilities. Anyway, why did you vote for me? Konohamaru sucked up the noodles that were hanging out his mouth. Well, you seem like a better fit to be leader. You said you know your way around Lighting Country, right? I'm sure your knowledge is more vast than Sasuke's, so that's why I thought you should lead. Oh, okay, that seems reasonable. Naruto replied. Hinata walked up to the stand. Hello, Naruto-kun. Naruto turned to see Hinata. Hello, Hinata, how are you? After what her father said, how could she be okay? She didn't want him to see that she wasn't, so she gave a fake smile. I'm good. She sat on the stool to the right of Naruto. Ichiraku-san, can I please have one miso ramen? He looked at Hinata and smiled. One miso coming up for the pretty young lady. Everyone turned to see who it was calling Hinata. Everyone saw that it was her younger sister. Hanabi finally arrived at the stand. Hinata, didn't you hear me calling you? Sorry, Hanabi, I didn't hear you. Hinata clearly was lying. She chose to ignore Hanabi. Right now she didn't want to be bothered with her sister. Hi, Hanabi-chan. Konohamaru greeted the young Hyuga with a faint blush on his cheeks. She turned to look at who spoke to her, only to see the third's grandson, or, Monkey Boy, as she called him. What do you want, Monkey Boy? Konohamaru looked at the ground. She never was nice to him, no matter how much he tried to be nice to her. Naruto didn't know her long, but he knew he didn't like her. Every Hyuga, in his opinion, with the exception of Neji and Hinata, were stuck-up snobs. Konohamaru, don't waste your energy being nice to people who always look at you like you're dirt, it's not worth it. Besides, you could do much better than that ugly Hyuga. Naruto said this trying to get a rise out of Hanabi, and his plan worked to perfection. Who are you calling ugly, you maggot? I am the heir to the Hyuga, and I'm currently the strongest Chunin in the village, how dare you speak ill of me? Naruto stopped eating his ramen and turned to face the Hinata's sister. You don't wish for people to speak ill to you, but yet and still you speak to others in the way that you wish not to be spoken. Calling Konohamaru a monkey boy is an insult to him. It is not only an insult to him, but it's an insult to his grandfather who gave his life for you unappreciative villagers. By you calling him monkey is mocking his grandfather's legacy. Now if you were joking with him then it wouldn't be problem, but you clearly think you're better than him and that's a problem. She smirked. So what if I think I'm better? It's not as if it isn't true. I'm a genius, he's a pathetic monkey boy, I will always be better than that loser. Naruto shook his head. I hate that word genius. Everyone think that being born with the ability to pick up things quicker than others makes them superior. Neji was a genius and I beat him. Sasuke was a genius in both Rock Lee and I beat him. Both of us were dead last in our graduating class. I came across a lot of so-called geniuses and in the end they all lost to me. You want to know what being a genius means? It means absolutely nothing. The only thing that means anything is hard work. Lee understands, Hinata understands, and Konohamaru understands that hard work will surpass a genius any day. It was luck that you beat Neji and Sasuke. I'm sure you can't beat them again if you tried. Once a loser, always a loser is what I say, was Hanabi's response. Whatever you pale-eyed freak, I think I just lost my appetite by looking at your ugly face. Sorry Hinata-chan, but you're the prettiest Hyuga female I know. It's sad because you seem to have taken all of the looks, leaving her with the short end of the stick. Well, I'll catch guys later. Naruto walked away. Hanabi had her fist clenched. How dare he insult my eyes? He insulted me and my family with that statement. No one defiles the name of the Hyuga and insult our bloodline. Who does he think he is to insult our legacy? Hanabi's eyes widened at what she was about to say. She realized that it hurt when he called her a pale-eyed freak. She wondered if this is how Konohamaru felt when she called him monkey boy. Hanabi closed her eyes. She prepared herself for to do what she was about to do. She then opened her eyes, then turned to Konohamaru. I'm sorry for calling you monkey boy. Hinata and Konohamaru were shocked that Hanabi had apologized. Konohamaru smiled. Hanabi, would you like to take a walk with me? No. She turned and walked off, leaving the boy defeated. Hinata touched his shoulder. Don't worry Konohamaru-kun, I'm sure my sister will like you someday. He looked at Hinata and gave a weak smile. I hope so. I really hope so. 2 hours later, Hyuga Hanabi sat on top of the gate waiting for the rest of team. She was at the very same spot for the last 2 hours thinking about that idiot Naruto, and about Konohamaru. Looking at it from Naruto's perspective, she knew she was wrong for calling him monkey boy. What she didn't understand is after all her insults he still tried to be nice to her. It doesn't matter, she was thinking it over too much anyway. Care if I join you Hyuga-sama? Naruto said mockingly. Hanabi tensed up slightly. How the hell did he sneak up on me? I didn't even sense his presence. If he was an enemy of mine I would be dead right now. She looked at the blonde. Do whatever you want. Naruto sat down next to her. Sasuke and Sakura are on their way. Konohamaru and Hinata are also on their way, as well as Udon. How do you know this? Can you detect them? She questioned. Actually, I see them walking towards the gate. Naruto stated. A couple of minutes later Sasuke and company arrived at the gate. Hanabi and Naruto jumped down, landing next to the group. Okay everyone, this is my first time working with some of you, and for others this is not. Those who I worked with know that I'm about being efficient as possible. Our goal is to get the scroll, we are to get in and get out undetected. Hanabi. He looked at her, gaining her attention. This is my first time working with you, but I have worked with Hinata and Neji before. If you're anything like these two, then we should get along fine. Udon, I've worked with you on a number of occasions, and for those that don't know, all strategy and planning will go through him. If you have a better idea, feel free to let us hear it. Sakura is the medic, so our goal is to make sure she is safe at all times. However, Sakura is capable of handling herself, so don't worry too much. Naruto. Sasuke turned to Naruto. We haven't worked together in a while, so I really don't know what you're capable of besides the Kage Bunshin. All I know is that you and I are the strongest here, so that should be good enough. Naruto was laughing in his head. Leave it to Sasuke to not say that I'm better than him. But you're right, you have no idea what I'm capable, because I didn't show that much in our fight, now did I? Naruto decided to ask Sasuke a question. What is the formation pattern? Sasuke was shocked that Naruto asked this. Well, I was going to have Hinata in the front, Udon directly behind to signal us. Both me and you are going to be at Sakura's sides. I'm on her right while you are on her left. We're the most capable to protect the medic, but we're also the most capable to provide support to the others in case of an ambush. Konohamaru will be directly behind Sakura, and Hanabi will be scanning the back to make sure we're not being followed. Does anyone have any other questions? Everyone shook their heads. The group walked past the gate and took to the trees in no time. They were heading to Lighting Country. Everyone took the formation that Sasuke had planned. Naruto looked at the Uchiha. Sasuke, moving at a fast pace. It's going to take us about 3 days to get to Lightning Country, that's with rest stops. I was thinking maybe we could head to a dock in Rice Country northeast of here. From there we could charter a boat that would have us in Lightning Country by tomorrow. Sasuke closed his eyes to think it over. No. Cloud ninjas are all over Rice Country. There is no way we could elude them. We're better off going by foot if we plan on getting into Lightning undetected. We could always disguise ourselves and... Naruto never got to finish his sentence. I said no. Sasuke elevated his voice so Naruto understood his decision was final. It won't work. I'll figure how to get us into Lightning. First we're going to stop at Rice Field Village in Rice Country and rest for the night. We should arrive there in about 7 hours if we keep up this pace. From there we'll review the map and go with our best feasible option. Naruto narrowed his eyes. The bastard didn't even listen to what I had to say. I could have gotten us in Lightning Country with no problem. My friend owns the docks there. He could have gotten us on a freight ship heading there. We could have been there by early morning tomorrow. Oh well, he did say we're stopping to rest in Rice Field Village. I'm sure Sasama-chan and her clan are keeping a close eye on Cloud Ninjas. Maybe she could give me information on their movements in Rice Country. 7 hours later, Naruto and company just arrived at their intended destination. They were walking through the busy town. Even at night, when the sun was setting, Rice Field Village was busy with people. Sasuke directed everyone to the hotel they were staying at. Sasuke went to talk to the receptionist while everyone wait for him. Sasuke returned to the group. Okay, we're sharing rooms. The girls will be in 305 and the guys will be in 306. I am heading to the room. Udon, I think it's time we take a look at that map to decide our route. Sasuke turned to everyone else. The rest of you guys are free to do whatever. Try to keep a low profile. Also, we're leaving here at 5 a.m. sharp. So keep that in mind if any of you plan on staying out late. With that, Sasuke and Udon headed to their rooms. Hanabi looked at Hinata. Sister, are you hungry? She nodded yes, indicating that she was hungry. I saw a steakhouse not far from here, let's get dinner. Hanabi turned to Sakura. Would you care to join us, Sakura-san? Sure. Sakura responded. Hanabi turned to Naruto and Konohamaru, regretting what she was about to ask. Would you two like to join us as well? Sure. I'm in. Konohamaru said with excitement. I'll pass. Naruto said, heading towards the exit. He looked at Konohamaru. Tell Sasuke I'll catch up with you guys if I'm not here by 5 a.m. Sakura wondered if Naruto was mad at her choosing Sasuke for being team leader or mad at the fact that Sasuke rejected his idea, which in her opinion was not that bad. Naruto, where are you going? He looked at Sakura. I'm going to get some information from a friend about the activity of the Cloud and Rain Nins in this country. Sasuke may want to select the best route, but he forgot to factor in that we might encounter enemy Nins. Maybe he did factor it all in and just wants to fight. I, however, wish to end this mission as quick as possible without having to fight. Anyway, I probably won't be back here tonight, so I'll see you guys later. Before he left, he performed a henge, transforming into a brown-haired man, with brown eyes and civilian clothing. He turned to Hinata. Hinata-chan, I think it would be wise if you and Hanabi were to transform. Being Hyuga main members, you guys might be recognized. Sakura, you and Konohamaru might want to change too. Incognito is the key here. We don't want to alert any Nins, and if they see Hyugas then our cover is as good as blown. Well, I'll see you guys. Naruto headed out of the hotel with his new look, and headed to south of the village. He was heading into Fuma territory. As he was walking, he noticed shurikens flying at him. He jumped out of the way to avoid the metallic projectiles. Before he could do anything, he was surrounded by a group of Fuma clan members. The girl with the long orange hair spoke. You are trespassing on Fuma territory. State your business or leave. Naruto smiled at the girl he recognized. I'm surprised that you don't remember me, Sasama-chan. It hasn't been that long for you to forget me. A smoke cloud surrounded the person in front of her. When it cleared, she was smiling from ear to ear. Naruto-kun. She jumped into the arms of the man standing before her. When the other Fumas saw that he was no threat, they stood down. She looked up to the man who was taller than her. It's good to see you, Naruto-kun. What brings you to here? Well, I'm here on a mission. I going to Lightning Country. My group just stopped to rest. I have to leave in the morning, but I couldn't pass through here without seeing you. So how is everything? The blonde shinobi questioned. It's great. Ever since Sound fell 2 years ago, everything has been good. However, this war between the leaf and the cloud is making things worse. My grandfather fears that we might have another ninja war on our hands if Kiri gets involved. So far they've remained neutral, but you never know. Naruto spoke. Yeah, you're right. I hope that there won't be a war, but either way I'm in it now. So, what village are you working for? Sasama questioned. His expression became serious. Konoha, was all that he said. So helping your home village, how noble of you. She said, proud of him. I'm not really helping, it's more like they're paying for my services. Naruto corrected the girl's assumption. Really? How much did are paying you? Let me guess. 10 million Ryu, 20 million Ryu, or what? 90 million. Naruto simply said. Sasama's mouth was hanging open. 10 million was high, 20 million was pushing it, but 90, that was just beyond anything she could conceive. Wow, they must really want your services. They probably only paid you that much for what you did in Rain and Rock, since those two are allied with Cloud. So I know you're not here on a social call, so what do you want? Naruto scratched the back of his while smiling. Well, I do wish it was social call. He removed his hand from his head and gave Sasama a steely gaze. However, my mission is a dangerous one. I know you guys keep tabs on all the nins in this area. Care to give me a breakdown on where they patrol and an estimate on how many to expect? Sasama's facial expression became serious. The nins are patrolling the borders between rice and lighting. There are a few cloud, rain, and rock nins patrolling about a couple miles west of here. Some have set up camps about 10 miles north of here. The way they're set up, it seems as if they're expecting Konoha nins. Let's go inside my house so I can give you their locations on a map. Sasama led the blonde to her two-story house. They entered the two-story flat, which consisted of a living room that was furnished decently enough, and the kitchen was a regular green-colored kitchen. Naruto didn't get to see the rest of the house because Sasama offered him a seat on the burgundy couch. Naruto took a seat while the orange-haired girl headed upstairs. She came back downstairs about 3 minutes later with a map and a red marker. She laid the map on the coffee table. He came closer when he saw that she was about to give him the location of the enemies. She circled a spot on the northern part of the map. Okay, this is where the camps are exactly, it's just past this pond. She circled an area on the side of the map that indicated west. This area is where they're patrolling. She drew a line from where the camp was located to where the patrol area was located. They only patrol west of the campsite. Why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense. Naruto wondered. It makes perfect sense. Whoever passes by the patrol team will more than likely run into the border patrol teams, which patrols the border of Lightning Country. Naruto, getting into Lightning is not going to be easy. Sasama pointed out. Naruto studied the map to find an alternative route. Damn, if only Sasuke would have listened to me, we could have been in Lightning Country already. Now we got to do this the hard way. She shook here. Your task is most certainly not an easy one. I wish there was a way to avoid the border patrol, but I don't think there will be a way to do so. Naruto looked at the map more carefully. He smiled when his eyes landed on the enemy camp. There is a way, but the chance of it being successful all depends on my team's speed. What do you mean by that? She questioned. Naruto began to explain. The border patrol usually patrols a certain area at certain times. It usually takes them about 5 to 10 minutes to come back to an area they previously checked. They tend not to come back because they plant traps that would be hard for the enemy to maneuver through. Avoiding traps should be easy enough. The only question is if my team is fast enough to get past the area undetected. I know that me and the team leader won't have no problems, however I can't account for the others. I don't know, it's a slim chance, but if it avoids fighting then it's a good choice. That might be possible. Sasama agreed. Yeah, I just hope my team is working on something better. I really don't want to have to kill enemy nins. That would only alert them of our presence, which would compromise the mission. The blonde stated. Naruto rolled up the map, then slipped it in the inner lining of his jacket. Well, Sasama, it was really good to see you again. I wish I could stay, but duty calls. Later, Sasama-chan. Before Naruto got to the door, Naruto, be careful. The rain has not forgot what you did. They won't hesitate to hurt you, so please, be careful. Naruto turned to his friend and gave her a smile of reassurance. Don't worry, I will be fine. Naruto hung back into the state he was in before he came to the Fuma clan district. He headed back to the hotel. An hour or so had passed since he left his group to seek out Sasama. While walking, thought about what Sasama said. I don't only have to worry about rain nins, I also have deal with rock nins. They want my head for what I did a year ago and because I look like the yellow flash of Konoha. It doesn't matter. I'm quite sure their cages told them to flee on sight after what happened in Rain and Earth Country. But still, someone will try to confront me to make a name. We have to go off the radar for this mission. My reputation makes me a liability. Naruto thought to himself. After a few minutes of walking, Naruto found himself back at the hotel. He headed straight for the room the boys were staying at. When he opened the door, he found that everyone was in the room. All eyes turned to him. Where did you go? I called a team meeting 30 minutes ago. Sasuke stated. Naruto walked up to the group, who surrounded a table with a map on it. He examined the map for a couple of seconds before picking it up and ripped it. Sasuke narrowed his eyes while the others wondered why he destroyed the map. What the hell? It took us nearly 30 minutes trying to figure out the best route that would lead us closer to the target destination. Naruto ignored Sasuke and placed his hand inside his jacket to retrieve the map Sasama gave him. He proceeded to unfold the map. He then laid it across the table so everyone could see. I'm sorry Sasuke, but I could bet that you didn't take into account that they have a camp located here. You guys also didn't factor in that in taking the route that you suggested would lead us right into border patrol. I know we could take them, but that would result in the failure of our mission. The best plan that I came up with is that we try to slip past border patrol when they pass one of their checkpoints. If you don't like my plan, then come up with something better. You have all of the information that you need there. I'm going to sleep. Wake me when we get ready to head out. Naruto flopped down on the bed in the far right corner of the room. Udon looked at the map carefully, looking for flaws. If the enemy camp's patrols were located where this map indicated them to be, then Naruto's plan was the only course action. He thought about another option, then looked at Naruto. Hey Naruto, you mentioned something about getting to lightning on a boat. I think that would be our best option at this point. Naruto sat up to look at Udon. The opportunity has passed. There is only one boat that goes to lightning from the dock I talked about, and it leaves at 3 in the afternoon every day. This right now is the only option. I did my part, so I'll leave it up to you guys to figure it out. Naruto was getting ready to lay down when Sasuke decided to speak. Where did you get this map from? How do we even know that the information on it is even credible? Naruto sat back up, looking annoyed by Sasuke's remark. A friend of mine, who is a fellow ninja, lives here in Rice and knows this country pretty well. My friend, who has kept a close eye on the movements of Cloud, Rain, and Rock Nins in this area, gave me this information. So that is how the information is credible. If you don't think so, then don't follow it. It's your team Sasuke. We will fail and succeed through you, so do whatever you want with it. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at Naruto out of frustration. Naruto saw this and flopped back down to relax, all the while smiling in his head. He knew Sasuke might not believe the info, but he was required to do right by the team. Naruto had just forced him to follow to his plan without throwing a punch. He just hoped that they could get through the border patrol without being detected. He looked up at the ceiling until he fell into a deep slumber. Sasuke and the others were still going over the plan. Udon looked at the map. This is the only option that we have if the map is correct. The boat would have been a good idea, but that isn't an option. Well, I guess we'll go with this. I think we should get some sleep so we can move at the crack of dawn. Sasuke regrettably shook his head in agreement. Hinata, Sakura, Hanabi, and Konohamaru all agreed as well. The girls left the boys and headed to their room to get some sleep. Both Konohamaru and Udon went to lay on the beds that they picked to sleep on. Sasuke stood by the table still looking at the map. He tried to find flaws in Naruto's plan but couldn't find anything. Even if he did, would it matter since his plan is the only option? Sasuke looked at the map one more time before walking over to his bed. He would need all the rest he could possibly get. This mission will be one of his toughest yet, that he was sure of.